There we go. All right. Well, happy Thursday. Hope everyone's having a great start to their week, or a great end of their week, start of their week. I work my weeks around Wednesdays because this is Workout Wednesday. So for me, this is the beginning of a week. So anyway, hope everyone's having a great time. We're going to talk about this week's Workout Wednesday challenge, which is going to be a ton of fun here. We got a great challenge from Luke this week, so we're back to our normal cadence of us authors doing kind of whatever we want. So we finished up our series, and now we're kind of going back to what we want to do. So this is going to be an interesting challenge. We'll go ahead and take a look at what we've got going on here. So if we take a look at the Workout Wednesday page, we're going to be building a dashboard that looks at the number of patients who come to an ED facility or a medical facility every 15 minutes. And so this is a really great one because this is healthcare focused. And for those who don't know, I work at Cerner, which is a Cerner IT company, and we build dashboards a lot like this. So haven't done this specific use case, but I definitely have a lot of experience in the healthcare space. So this is going to be something that's near and dear. So the other good thing about this one is we're going to be using the Tableau Exchange to get our data and the store to get the data. So if you've never used the Tableau Exchange, we'll talk through that here in just a little bit as well. But this is what we're going to build. It is a dashboard that shows the number of weekly or the number of admissions every 15 minutes. So we've got a timeline here, which Tableau Public has some rendering issues. It's not showing the actual AM PM down here, which is kind of upsetting, but it's just the way it is. And this one is part of the accelerator. So they have new dashboard accelerators, which is really, really cool. So by category, they have a bunch of these different dashboard starters. So if you want to do survey data, you can click here, and here are a bunch of starter workbooks that look at that. Here by hospitality, if you want to build a dashboard. So if we click on one, you can see here that this is a dashboard that you can, once it loads, it will be a template dashboard for you to plug and play, right? Here are a bunch of metrics regarding this particular thing. And then you can go up here and you can download this, download it right to your desktop. As you can see, I'm not signed in, and it just lets us download it. So it's free, it's accessible, do it for whatever. This is the medical stays one. As you can see, it comes through here, and it has several different dashboards. We're not going to build any of them. We're not going to do any of them. But what's great about the Tableau Exchange and all these starter workbooks is you get a great demo data set. So that's what we're going to be using. So let's get ready and get into Tableau here. All right. So I have already cleaned up my workbook. When you first open the workbook, you just need to delete everything, delete all the worksheets, and then start building. I also went through and deleted all of the calculated fields that came in the starter workbook, just because I like to work with as clean of a canvas as possible. So really easy way to do that. I went through and I went to my search box and I typed in C and did C:, and that would filter the list of dimensions to only those that are calculations. What's also really cool is if you want to search in Tableau and you're looking for a field, you don't know what it's named, but you know that it's a dimension, you can do D, and it will filter to only your dimensions. Similarly, you can do M, comma, and it will only bring up your measures. So really cool new functionality in the search window. You can also do it by clicking on the little funnel here and doing that as well. But let's talk about today's, let's talk about this. So the first thing that if we go back to his requirements, he's got a few things that we need to do. We're going to filter to outpatient stay only. So these are people who came. I'm going to assume that this is an ED, an emergency department, emergency room facility, just because it makes sense to me. It's what I do a lot of work on. And when we say it's a stay type of outpatient, that means that they did not stay in the that they did not end up in a room, right? They just stayed in the ED, stayed for however long, and then they were discharged home. That's an outpatient stay. So that's what we like to that's how we like to think about that. So we're going to do that. I don't have any other sheets, so I don't need to make it a data source filter or anything like that. The other thing he said was the admission date. We need to filter to just use we'll do a range of date, and the starting date, we'll get rid of the times, is going to be August 30th, 2017. So I'll just put that date in here. August 30th as our starting date. Nope, not 12. 17. There we go. There we go. Starting date of August 30th, 2017 and forward. All right. So now we've got our filters dated. So let's take a look at this admission date. So this is going to be the date that we basically need to figure out, right? So each one of these, so if we look at the exact date, make it discrete, right? We can see we have times here, right? Let's see if I can't. Nope. All right. So I've got a bunch of times here, and what we need to do is we need to set the interval to every 15 minutes. So essentially what I need to do is figure out a way to what we need to do is we need to figure out a way to basically truncate, if you will, each one of these times into the nearest 15 minutes, right? Or into the, not the nearest, that's the wrong way to say it, into the 15-minute, into a 15-minute bucket, right? So there's a few different ways to do this. One way to do it is basically to, if we look at this, bring over my calculation window, and I'll say this is the trunk 15. Oh, look at that. Awesome. We've got Nicole online in the chat here, and she says she's already learning shortcuts, which is great. So thanks for tuning in, Nicole. Thanks for sticking around, and thanks for letting me know you learned something. So let's see here. And then I got another one from Fadwa asking about my screen resolution, telling my screen is blurry. Hopefully that's cleared up by now. If not, I apologize. But we'll try and figure this out as we go. So, okay. So, let's... Oh, good. Can see it fine now. Good deal. All right. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to truncate this. So, a couple different ways we can do it. Essentially, what you need to know about Tableau is Tableau, just like Excel, calculates, keeps, it stores dates as fractions of a day, right? That's how you can kind of think of this. So, if we were to, let me see here. We'll do, essentially what we need to do is we do date trunk. We'll do, essentially, it's the, what we need to do is we need to first need to convert this. I need to convert my admission time into a float. Okay. So I'll do float on my admission date. So Tableau, again, the reason this is valid, I'll bump this up. The reason that this is valid is because Tableau stores date and times as fractions and integers. So so if we just do float, it will give us a time, and I'll show that over here. So we'll do convert admission float. I'll show you what that looks like here. I'll bring that up into rows. Waiting for Tableau to render. Make it discrete. And you can see here we have a fraction of a day, right? Now that we have a fraction of a day, we just need to figure out how we can manipulate these numbers into truncating into a bucket. So what I'm going to do now is open up a new calculated window. And then what I'm going to do is I know that there is a, let's see, I think it's, so we'll bring in my converted admission float here. We are going to multiply that by 24 times 60 divided by 15. Take that number divided by this. Let's bring that out. And let's see what this does. Then what we can do here is, I believe we can duplicate, or we can create a new calculated field off of this, and we'll call this arrival bucket. And we'll just do this as a date time field. I'll create a new sheet, make this continuous, drop it on columns, and I don't, no, not that exact date. No, that did not work. Okay, let's figure this out. How are we going to do this? Let's see. Let's do. Let me think about this here. Oh, do I need to convert admission float? Oh yeah, never mind. I forgot a step. So the first thing we need to do is we need to round this guy to 0 decimals here. So let's talk about this real quick. That is there. Yep, here. Let's see, closes that. Yeah. There we go. All right. So what we need to do, so the reason that this 24 times 60, that is essentially the way in which we divide up the hour. We divide up the minutes into the fractions, right? And then we're just dividing that number by whichever interval that we want. And then the reason that this didn't work is because I've got some weird stuff here. So what we actually need to do here is make time, not date time, make time. So this is going to be date part hour for admission date. But the minute is going to be this, right? So this is, so this part, we'll get a comma here, date part, minute, calculation 1. And the calculation 1 is our truncated minute. And then for here, we'll just do 0. Date part. All right, what don't we like about that? Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, there. Arrival. Let's see. We need to truncate this as is that just calculation 1? Let's try that. Make time. Integer, float, integer. Okay. Float. Or int here. All right. What do we have here? We're back to just the minute. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to convert this to a float. Or I wanted to get this. Okay, let's do. Okay. Oh. Okay, so I got it. I got it now. I know where I'm at. I'm back on track here. Okay, so let's get rid of calculation 1 because that's never helpful. So this is the bucket conversion. Hey, Rodrigo, good to see you. Good to hear from you. Let's see. We've got. We're gonna call this. I'm gonna call this bucket trunk because I don't have any other idea of what to call it. Then what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna call this. What did we do here? Let's make sure this is still what I want it to be. Nope. I just want to convert this to a. I just want to convert date time. I just want to convert bucket trunk to a date time field. That's what I want to do. Okay, so now, so if we take this out here now and we put it right next to our admission date, our original admission date on our sheet here, what you're going to see here, right, is we have 45, we have 15. So what it's doing is it's rounding. So that's why that's why I did that rounding. Now, that's not necessarily what we are wanting to do, but that is a way that you can truncate. So if it's, I used to work in payroll, and so the, paying up to the nearest quarter hour, doing that whole rounding thing, this was a formula that we used to do that. But in order to do this, we've got to do something a little bit different. So, because what's happening here is what we want is this 1243 should be in the 1230 bucket, not the 1245 bucket. But regardless, you can see here that we're close, right? We are very close. It's not working exactly. There are some that are going to be exact, but we need to get that just right. So let's think about how we can do that. Let's see here. I'm thinking we need... Yeah, Rodrigo, you're on screen. That's how we do it here in the Hipster Viz Ninja Dojo live stream. We got the high tech gear here, so you never know. You never know what you're gonna find. All right, let's see here. We need to figure out a way to truncate this. So I think perhaps what would happen if we did a... I'm going to duplicate this so that we have a working copy of it. Oh, you know what I bet? I bet if we do a floor, that would always bring it down, right? And I'll get rid of this. There we go. So then what I'll do is I'll duplicate this guy, and well, I don't need to duplicate it that many times. I need to edit this now and bring it up, but now we'll do the truncate copy. Let's see what this brings us. Bring this guy out, make it discrete. Look at that. Boom. So our 1243 is now in the 1230 bucket. 139 is now in the 130 bucket. Let's see, why is he in the one? Yep, he's in the 130 bucket. 149, 145, 2 o'clock, 2:04. I'm doing the old middle school math thing, middle school science thing. If it works on 3 rows, it's probably right. Check any 3 random rows. 110 goes into 1 o'clock. Let's do 242 goes into the 230. Yep, this is good. All right, so let's get rid of the ones that don't work so that we can clean things up. We'll get rid of that. And now we are ready. We are ready to start building. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our arrival bucket, copy. And now what we need to do, we can't just throw that out there, right? We need to figure out a way to make it level. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a make time off of this to get a standardized time axis. Make time. Basically, a make time, what it does is it's going to truncate all the dates to one date, so that I have one date, and then it's just going to group up everything into that other time. So, make time. We need to do the hour, and that's going to be just the hour of. Well, hold on. Do we even need to do that? We may not need to do that. we can go here, but instead of continuous year, I'll go all the way down to the continuous minute. Oh, that's why, because it's continuous, and I need the discrete. I need the discrete continuous. So that's not going to work. So I do need to do that. Okay. So what we'll do here is, because what I basically need to do is, so we'll do create field, and this is why make time works. Oop. Make time. And we're going to do the date, part, hour of that. We're going to do the date, part, minute. And then our seconds we'll just leave it 0. We don't need those. And we'll call this our bucket axis. There we go. All right, comes in a discrete, change it to continuous. And now what I can do is throw that up here. As you can see, I get 1 year, which is good. I'll do exact date. And now you can see I've got a record for every 15-minute block. So now what we've got our x-axis, right? Or our x-axis. Now let's work on that y-axis. So our y-axis for that is going to be stays per day. If we look at that, stays per day. So a stay is, if we go back to a stay is, this stay number is a unique identifier. In the healthcare world, you might hear this called as an encounter number. So this is the stay number. So we'll do a count. So the stays per day is the count distinct of stay number divided by the count distinct date part, day. Or what should we do? Count distinct date part or date trunk? What do you think about this? Date part or date trunk? We probably need to do a date trunk, because a date part is only going to give us, so it's a date trunk at the day, because we're already accounting for the time in our axis. So we need it at the day of, and we're actually just going to do the actual admission date for that. Get rid of all my extra deals here. So we're truncating every admission date down to the day, and then we're going to do a count distinct of those for our denominator, and then we're going to do a count distinct of stay number to get our numerator, and that will give us stays per day. And because even though it's an average, I'm going to drop this down to 1 decimal place. I've had providers actually tell me that you can't have half a stay. So they actually prefer no decimals. So just kind of keep that in mind. But we'll leave it at 1 since Luke left that in there. Now we'll just drag that up to columns. And we'll do that. Let's see. Change this to a bar. Now this is where things get weird, because there we go. We'll maybe leave it. Yeah, we'll leave it at the halfway mark. That looks good. All right. Now, if we look at, why is that looking like that? Let's refresh. Okay, there we go. He has 38.66. And I've got 42.4, 22.6. So that means that there's something off with the way that my buckets are handling. With the way that our buckets are handling. Let's see. So Tim's got a nice question originally back here when he asked why when I was using the so the bucket axis, if we look at this, so what I did is I did a make time function, which basically removes the day, right? Tableau doesn't, it basically removes the day from the date time field. But Tableau, in order to visualize and make marks out of that, Tableau still needs a date on there. So it defaults everything to, I think it's like January 31st, 1899. I think that's the start. That's the index day, the epoch day for Tableau's date time functions. So anytime you make a date time, anytime you do a make time, your default year is you're gonna see that 1899 on there. But all of your other times are going to be based on whichever hours, minutes, seconds you add into that. So that's where we're getting that from. And Rodrigo asked some questions about do we need the full day, month, year? What if we use the date? Count distinct. Just date. I see. Let's see that. Let's try that. Of admission date. Yep, that works too. I still don't have the same thing. I still have some weird things happening with my I still have some weird things happening with the way that my buckets have worked on. Let's see. What's another way we could do this here? Let's go back here. Let's create a new calculated field. Let's do the 15 trunk. Take 2 because I feel like being silly. All right, I do think the floor is right. We do need the floor because what we want to do is we want it to be at the bottom. We don't always want it to. We don't want to round, right? We always want to fall down to the bottom, not go up to the top. Let's do date part minute of admission date divided by 15 and then multiplied by 15. What does that do? Let's try that. Here's another fun trick. Don't click OK if you're not sure about your calculation yet. Click apply. That will add it over here, but it will still keep this window open. So now what that allows me to do is I can drag this guy out. And oh, yep, I can, but can't because what I need to do first is convert this into a date time. So that we can see what's happening here. There we go. We'll call this calculation 1 for now, because that's all I've got in my head right now. All right, and then we'll put this right next to that. We'll do that. We'll do this. Well, that's not right. Date, time, that. I just want to make sure I didn't do anything wrong here. Floor, convert axis, that. Bucket axis. Bucket trunk copy. That. Date, time, that. And that's not getting me what I want, because yeah, that's not getting me what I want here. Because that's just getting me, unless I need to do like a make time date part hour of admission date and trunk 2 0. Oh yeah, I gotta close this guy off. And then close that. So what are we doing here? We've got this, we've got that. Oh, there we go. Oh, that fixed it. Okay. Well, don't know if it fixed it or not, but all right, we can get rid of this. And what I'm going to do is, now I'm just going to do some high-level stuff. I'm just going to do a high-level check. I'm going to do arrival bucket equal calculation 1. Are they all false? Yeah, they're all false. All right, well, then let's go back over here and let's drag this axis back out. Let's replace that with that. Nope, still the same thing. Okay, well, maybe there's just some weird things happening in this data that I'm not aware of. But, I mean, the good thing about this is that the shape is right. I'm just off by a few. Oh. You know, sometimes it comes down to making sure that your filters are right. Remember at the very beginning of this, if you weren't here, at the very beginning of this, I said whenever I put these filters on here, I said I don't think I'm going to be making other sheets, so I don't need to make these data source filters. But guess what? I do. I bet you if I make these data source filters now and I go over to my bar chart, there it is. That's simple. Golly dogs. See? This is the fun part. This is why I started doing these live streams, because we're not all perfect, right? We make mistakes. We all fall behind. It's okay, but we get ourselves out of it. We work through it. We figure it out. So there we have it. So you set your dates the right way. You set your filters the right way, and you'll match. So that's what you got to do. So that is that. All right. Let's do some formatting here. We'll do a formatting of our calculation here. Date format. We're gonna do custom. We're gonna do H, comma, MM, and then AM/PM. That will give us our time. That will give us our time down along the axis, as well as, and then the other cool thing about this, so we'll take this one step further, right? So we've had a good time figuring this out and remembering the importance of making sure that our filters are set the right way on every sheet that we're building. But as I mentioned in here, right? This is the one that I ended up using. I probably could have used the one that I created if I had set my filters the right way, but it's okay. Either one works. But the thing that I want you to keep in mind is this is how we're determining the 15-minute bucket. This is how we're determining the 15-minute bucket. As you can see, they're hard-coded. Anytime you see a hard-coded thing, you should be thinking, can I make that dynamic? You bet we can. Right now it's 15, but maybe I want to give the maybe the end user wants to know, well, that's good for 15 minutes, but what about a 30-minute bucket? What about a 90-minute bucket? What about a 72-hour bucket? Something like that. So this is where you can kind of add in some cool stuff. So you can say enter interval time. And now all you have to do is go back to your calculation and replace that with enter interval time. And now when you show your parameter, and you want to say, show me what every 30-minute bucket looks like. Show me what every 90-minute bucket looks like. Show me what every 10-minute bucket looks like. All right? So you can have some fun with it. So make it dynamic. But that's basically what we're going to do. Let's take one last look at this, why it's working the way we want it to. So what we're doing is we're taking the individual minute for each timestamp. We're taking the individual minute. We are going to divide that by whatever bucket we want into it, right? So dividing that by 60, right? And that's going to give us some fraction, right? What we want to do is we want to take the whole number of that fraction of whatever that result is. We want to take the whole number. We don't care about the remainder. We just want the whole number. That's what the floor is doing. And then we're going to multiply that whatever that integer is, and we're going to multiply that by whatever our interval is, and that will give us back to if we did it by if we put this back at 15. So if you did. And that's how we can so we can actually see this in action, right? So we'll take this floor part. We'll go back to our data. And we'll just enter this in. So this first line here is 1243. So it's 43 divided by 15. Finding the floor of that. and then yeah, right. So there it is, right? So 43 divided by 15 gives us some number, and we're just taking the integer of that number, which is 2. 2 times 15 is 30. That's how that calculation is working. So there we go. Let's see the last thing. If we can do some thing. Oh yeah, we can do this real quick. So he's got these little, turn one of your marks into a Gantt chart, and then make this a dual axis. And then I'll put measure names. Nope, not measure names. And then what I'll do is more colors. He gave us the name. He gave us the hex values here. For that one. And then for the top bar, or for the top of the bar chart, which is the Gantt section, is the darker one. And that looks a little lighter than I would like. Don't forget to synchronize. And you can hide that. So I'm going to drop the opacity here. There we go. Yeah, maybe like a 50. There we go. And there you have it. You just throw it up onto a dashboard and call it a day. So really fun challenge. Didn't take too long once we figured out our filter issue, right? But really cool way. We talked about how Tableau converts, deals with dates and times, how we can use that. This formula is probably one that you should keep in mind of. Write it down somewhere. Put it in your Notepad++. Running cool functions note, because everyone has one of those, right? You should if you don't. And then you can just use it whenever you need it. So it's a really cool way to kind of bucket different amounts of time. So I mean, you could change this, right? You could make this whole thing dynamic, right? You could say, well, I don't care about the minute. Maybe I want to care about hours or days or whatever. So you can change this part too, and that would do it all for you. So it's pretty cool stuff. All right, that wraps us up for this week, and thanks so much. I'll stick around in the chat for a few minutes, but have a wonderful, excellent rest of the week. I hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Go forth and viz.